it's your payday on 25. Yeah. It's Shopee Payday. Shopee Payday 25.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So we are about to start our session for today, tonight, which is the midterm examination briefing. So before we start, uh, let me introduce myself first. So I am Mohamad Hakimi from the Department of Quranic Language, CFS IIUM Gambang. So should you have any questions with regards this briefing, you may ask the question or you may post the questions on the chat box, and it is advisable for you to post your questions later after everything has been explained. So this is going to be a very short one. I'm not going to explain more. I mean, like, think I'm not going to take your times long. So let us begin with the first one. So the first thing first is the contents of this midterm examination briefing. So basically, we have six things to be covered here. The first one will be the general information of the midterm examination, and the second one will be the platform that will be used during the midterm examination. And the third and fourth and the fifth one, I'll be going to explain about the midterm examination for each level, which LQM 0813 for Quranic level 1, LQM 0823 for Quranic level 2, and LQM 0824 for Quranic level 2 Arabic based. Um, and then the last one will be the Q&A session. So let us start with the first one, which is the general information for the midterm examination. Oh, I'm sorry. What is slower? Okay. For the first one will be the general information for the LQM 0813 Quranic level 1. So the midterm examination will be held on 28th of 9 of September 2021, which will be held this coming Tuesday. So the duration for LQM 0813 midterm examination will be only 1 hour, which will be held from 8 p.m. until 9 p.m. And the platform that will be used is Google Documents, which is what we call that, the question paper will be posted on the on Google Classroom, and you are required to answer the questions on Google Docs. And the questions or the midterm examinations marks is only 20% of your overall marks. So basically for LQM 0813 Quranic level 1, there will be four sections altogether, which consist of section 1, reading comprehension, section 2, vocabularies and phrases, section 3 will be grammar, and section 4 will be writing. So these are the sections that will be tested on during midterm examination for LQM 0813 Quranic level 1. So moving on to the next one, which is LQM 0823 Quranic level 2. The midterm examination will be held on, I'm sorry, it is not Tuesday, it is Wednesday. 29, let me change this. It will be on Wednesday, 29 of September 2021, Wednesday. And it will be held from 8 p.m. until 9 p.m. The question paper will be posted on your Google Classroom, and you have to answer the question on Google Docs. It will the marks given allocated for this midterm examination for LQM 0823 Quranic level 2 is also 20%. And there are also four sections, which consist of section 1, reading comprehension, section 2, vocabulary, and section 3, grammar, and section 4 is writing. So the last one will be LQM 0824, 30th of September. This one will be on Thursday. It will be on Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Which is this is the only paper which its duration is 1 hour and 30 minutes. Basically, for LQM 0813 and LQM 0823, the midterm examination duration is only 1 hour. But for LQM 0824, the duration for midterm examination will be 1 hour and 30 minutes. It is still the same with the LQM 08213 and LQM 0823, which the question paper will be posted on Google Classroom. Then you will be answering the questions by using Google Docs. So next one, the marks allocated for midterm examination for LQM 0823 0824, I'm sorry, 0824 is 20 marks. There will be writing questions and MCQ questions. And as far as I'm concerned, the writing questions will be about the formal letter. So right now we are going. Is there any question before we move on to the next part, which is the platform? So I think we can move on to the second part of the session, which is the platform that will be used through for this midterm examination. So basically, most of the students will be using Google Docs, as all of you or most of you using Google Classroom as your platform for your class or your section. So those who use Google Classroom as your platform for your class or your section, you'll be using Google Docs to answer these questions, which means all questions for this midterm examination will be uploaded on Google Classroom of your respective section. So once the question has been uploaded, you'll see this one. There will be something like this one, midterm examination, and there will be this assignment, which is midterm examination 20 marks, which will have the due date for the midterm examination. So what are you going to do is that all of you are required to answer all the questions in the provided Google Docs. Since we have posted this midterm examination on Google Classroom, and we have made this we have also attached the Google Docs on the Google Classroom. So you have to answer the questions, all the questions in the Google Docs attached with the assignment or the midterm examination post. So once you click on the attached Google Docs, there the questions will appear, and you are required to answer all the questions in the Google Docs. You don't have to download the questions. You don't have to convert the questions into PDF. You don't have to write down the questions on any other paper, for example, on a foolscap paper or maybe the A4 paper. No, you don't have to do all those things. You only have to go to the Google Docs, and then you have to answer all the questions on Google Docs. So the questions and the answers will be on Google Docs. So you don't have to do anything, you don't have to download or everything. So this is basically for those who will be using laptop or what we call that, your PC or your laptop. But for those who will be using your mobile phone to answer this midterm examination, two things you have to download first. The first one will be the Google Classroom application, and the second one for the Google Docs application. I think most of you have downloaded Google Classroom since you are using this Google Classroom throughout the semester for your classes and everything. But most of you have yet to download Google Docs in your phone because for this midterm examination, since we are going to use Google Docs. Yes, I'm not going to say that we can't open the questions with only using Google Classroom application, but there will be some problems if you don't use or if you don't download these Google Docs applications, which will then affect your answers or your time to answer these questions. Why? There are few problems happen during previous semesters in which the student do not didn't download the Google Docs application, and what happened that they open directly from Google Classroom and they answer the questions by using their mobile phone on Google Classroom. But at the end of the at the end of the exam or at the end of the test, once they want to submit the question, uh, they have they faced problem in which all the answers that they have written on Google Docs disappeared. Be- So to avoid this thing to happen, you have to download these two applications, which are Google Classroom and Google Docs. If you wish to answer the midterm examination or your final examination by using mobile phone. There is a question here. Does this mean all the answers are provided in the question? No, not all the answer are provided in the questions, but you have to fill in the blank in the question. I'll show you the questions later on so that you can imagine why you have to answer the questions on Google Docs directly, in which you don't have to download or you don't have to answer it offline. So basically, once you have installed both Google Classroom and Google Docs, these things will happen. If you use your mobile phone, once you have opened the questions or the assignment assigned or the midterm examination posted on Google Classroom, this thing will appear, which in which you will see midterm examination 20 marks, as well as at the bottom part of the screen or your phone, there will be that thing in the red shape there, in which your work. So you have to click on that thing, and the second picture will appear, which is the second interface will appear, in which there is the attached Google Docs that you have to use to answer all the questions for your midterm examination. So you just have to click that thing. Okay, the problem will happen here in in this third step. So once you open the attached Google Docs there will be a you may answer the question. I mean, like, you may write anything on the question paper there, but bear in mind that everything you have written there without using Google Docs application will disappear at the end of the answer session. So the most important part is that on the third picture, on the third photo, in which you can see at the top side of the Google your screen, you can see that there is like something like arrow there, just next to the pencil. So you have to click that thing so that so that you can open this thing by using this question paper by using Google Docs. So once you click on that thing, the fourth the fourth interface will appear, in which you have choices either to open it with Google Drive or to open it with Google Docs. So you are required to open it with Google Docs so that uh, you can answer the questions on Google Docs and you can save the answers later. So this is the most important part of this thing, of this briefing, in which for especially for those who wish to answer the questions by using your mobile phone. But based on my experiences and based on my students' experience, I would suggest you to answer this midterm examination by using what we call that, like your laptop or your PC. Because why? There will be a few problems if you use mobile phones, especially when you want to type in Arabic, and when you want to do something uh, or you want to read the questions or the text, or the passage in the question paper, because the screen is not that big, so you can't really read everything on the same screen. So it is advisable for you to answer the questions by using your laptop so that you won't face any problems later on. So moving on to the next part. So this is the one of the most important parts of this thing, which once you have finished answering the questions on Google Docs, you must click turn in button on the top side, uh, on the top right side of your screen, just next to the share button. So once you click the turn in button, make sure before you click on the turn in button, you have answered all the questions in the midterm examination paper. So once you click on the turn in button, it will direct you to the Google Classroom once again, in which it will ask you one again. There will be a prompt message there, which it will ask you either you want to turn in, you want to really turn in the exam, the exam midterm examination paper, or you want to cancel it and do it again in Google Docs. So once you click the turn in button once again, it will appear like this, in which you can see the turn in status there, written there in your work part. So once you can see the turn in the status change into turn in, so it means that you have successfully turned in this midterm examination answer. So that is why I have mentioned earlier that you don't have to download anything, that you don't have to answer this question offline, that you don't have to change anything on the question paper. You just have to click on the attached Google Docs there, and it will direct you to the Google Docs. And you have to answer all the questions on Google Docs. And once you have finished, you have to click on the turn in button, and then after that you will have you'll see this turn in status. So for those who are asking about how to write or how to type in using Arabic keyboard, you can go through the taskbar on your laptop. There is the language there just next to the what we call that the clock on your taskbar. You can just simply click on that thing and you can simply add language. Or if you don't have that thing, you can go to search on your start button, I mean like your start punya bahagian tu, and you can search language and keyboard. So the thing that you have to add here is Arabic language, Saudi Arabia, Arabic keyboard 101. So you just follow the step there, and then it will be there for you to type. So, but then if you face problem in looking for which keyboard is for which letter, you can go for on-screen keyboard. So once you use on-screen keyboard and you change the language into Arabic, the on-screen keyboard will change into Arabic too. So it will help you a lot. I would say like that. Boleh tak buka soalan guna laptop tapi tulis jawapan guna phone? Means that kita guna dua device sebab lagi laju nak type guna keyboard phone dan keyboard laptop. You may open the question paper by using your laptop, and you may answer the question paper by using your phone. So it is comfortable for you. But then you have to bear in mind, if you use phone to answer the questions, you have to download the Google Docs application so that you can so that the answers will be there on Google Docs, and it will not disappear at the end of at the end of the examination period. Any other questions? Need baris ke? There are certain questions that need for you. You have to put the harakat atau baris tu. Okay, moving on to the next part, which is the questions. So for LQM 0813, Quranic level 1, as I've mentioned earlier, that there will be 4 sections. Section A, reading comprehension. Section B will be the vocabularies. Section C will be the grammar, and the section D will be the what we call that writing part. So this is somehow the sample for the midterm examination questions. So you for section A, reading comprehension, for example, you will be having this kind of passage, or you will be having uh what we call this a conversation in between two persons or more. And then what will happen next is that there will be questions like this, which in which you have to tick either it is true or false. So Basically, this is the symbol of true and false, which is na'am or la. How will you answer these questions? It is quite difficult for you to look for symbol while using Google Docs. So what you have to do is that you just have to copy the tick symbol and the X one, and then you have to paste the symbol on the provided space on to answer the questions. So for example, Abu Muhammad Muhandis. So if this statement is correct, so you just have to copy the tick button, and then you just have to paste the tick button in the space provided at the end of the questions. So this is the first type of the questions. The second one, it can be like this, in which there will be four or more, or the number will differ, but the questions will be something like this, in which you have to answer questions based on comprehensions questions uh based on the what we call that based on the questions. So there is a question here. I'm not clear about how to write down the answer. We just write down the answer under the questions, or how. So as I've mentioned earlier, if the questions is like this, I mean true or false, you just have to tick or put the X symbol there. But if the questions is like this one, for example, this one, reading comprehension types of questions, there will be a table or a square or rectangular, whatever it is. You just have to put the answer in the table or the square or the rectangle or the shape provided there. You don't have to create or any. You don't have to edit anything. There will be spaces provided for you to answer or to put your to write down your answers there. So I think this might help you. The next one will be the third types. The third one, which is you have to fill in the blank with the words that are there in the text. For those who are asking how to put the baris atau harakat tu, you just have to click on shift and you have to go to Q kalau nak fathah. Shift W will be fathatain. Shift E will be Dhamma. Shift R will be Dhammatain. Shift A will be Kasrah. Shift S will be Kasratain. Shift X will be Sukun. And Shift yang berombak-ombak sebelah nombor satu tu will be Shaddah. So these are the letters that or the main part of the keyboard that you have to know if you want to put the baris. Okay, this is the first section, which is section A. Moving on to the next part, which is the section B. Section B, you'll be tested on Muradif and Mudad, in which you just have to answer the question based on the uh, underlined word there. Either the questions want you to give the Muradif or the Mudad of the underlined words, and the answers is there. The answers are there. You just have to pick the answers. Okay, and then this is the last part of section B, which is vocabulary. There will be pictures there, and then there will be blank space there, so that you have to answer the questions by putting the right word for the pictures given. For example, picture number one is the langse. So in Arabic, we call langse as sitar. So the answer will be as sitar. So this is how the questions look like. Moving on to the next part, which is section C, grammar, there will be more MCQ questions. And then there will be fill in the blank questions. And then this one will be tentukan or identify the wrong word or wrong or the grammatical error in the sentences. So basically, all these types of questions are there in your textbook. You just have to revise again and again the questions or the exercises that are there in the textbook. So the next one will be the section D, writing. You don't have to worry for those who are taking LQM 0813. You don't have to write an essay. You are not required to write an argumentative essay. You are not required to write a formal letter. You just have to write a sentence, a very short sentence, a very simple sentence based on the pictures given. So these are the example of the questions. For example, this one, you can see that this boy is holding his clothes. So maybe you can say that يمسك الطفل أو الولد القميص أو الملبس. So these are the types of questions for section D, and the next one will be this kind of question, this type of questions, which is the you have to rearrange the words to create a sentence. And then I think that's all. Oh, no, the last one will be section D. It can be like this, which is you have to answer the questions based on the questions, based on this conversation. For example, when the father asked, "ماذا تفعل يا سفيان?" which is the father asked about what are you doing, Sufyan? So you have to write down a sentence in which it will be the answer of the questions in the previous conversation. So here are the types of questions that will be tested for LQM 0813 Quranic level 1. Basically, for Quranic level 2, there will be the same thing. So for section A reading comprehensions, there will be 6 questions altogether, which are divided into 2 types. Which are the first one answer the questions, which is from the text, and then the second one will be true or false. It is just the same as LQM 0813 types 0813. So section B is also the same. You will be tested on singular plural, mufrad jama, muradi for mudad. And then the next one, section C, you'll be having multiple choice questions as well as to correct the underlined word. And then section D, you will have to rearrange the words to be a correct sentence and or describe picture, construct correct sentences. So 20 marks altogether for LQM 0813 and LQM 0823. Okay, for LQM 0824, there will be a writing questions in which you are required to write a formal letter, if I'm not mistaken. So you are given choices either to write the answer for, or either to write the formal letter by using your laptop or computer or your phone, or you can submit the answer handwritten only for this part. So if you wish to write by your hand, what you must do is that you have to download cam scanner, and then you have to snap the pictures of your answers. If you write it on your foolscap paper, you have to snap the answers on foolscap paper, and then and then convert the photos into PDF file. So you have to attach this PDF file on Google Classroom, the assignment part, in which the previous one that I've shown you earlier here. Let me show you again. So here, if you wish to write, or you wish to submit your AC's handwritten, you have to use cam scanner to snap the pictures, and you have to convert the pictures into PDF files. So once you have completed you answering the questions on Google Docs, you just have to add or create another. You just have to add or upload the PDF files that you have created just now. Okay, so that is how you answer the questions, the writing questions. So I think, oh, the last one will be, so this will be the last one, the honor pledge. So basically, the first page of the questions, the first page of the question paper will be this one, the honor pledge for examinations, in which you have to write down your name and you have to write down the date of the examination. So these are the honor. We believe that once you have written your names there, and we believe that once you have complete or fill in this form, you will not be doing all those things mentioned on the this honor pledge. So we believe we put our full trust on you to not cheat on during examination. Do not use any help or do not refer any websites, especially Google Translate or almaani.com or almaudu or anything that related with Arabic. And do not ask for someone else's help to answer the questions. We put our full trust on you. So and you also fill in this thing in which you explicitly uh, confirm that you will not be doing these things. But if you still do these things, then it is up to you and it is between you and the creator. We cannot do anything. We can't really do anything to force you not to do that things. But once again, I say I have to mention that we put our full trust on you to not cheat during this examination. So we hope that you will not be cheating during examination. So I think that's all for today's briefing. So should you have any questions, you may post your questions on the chat box in on YouTube on the chat box. So I will read the questions and I'll answer the questions if I can. So any questions? Why can we handwrite to answer all questions? So actually, all the questions require only one to uh, less than 10 words. So you can really type the answer. But for the writing section of LQM 0824, it will require you quite a long essays of the formal letter. There will be at around 80 words or more. So it will take some time so that we don't want you to take much time in looking for the words or the letters on the keyboard. So that's why we what do we call that? We give you choices to either write it by your hand or to type it on your by using your laptop. How about MCQ questions? Oh, that question. I forgot to tell you about the MCQ questions. Okay, the MCQ questions. Basically, you will be having these MCQ questions from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For example, you have 5 questions altogether. And for each questions, you will be having 4 choices, which is alif, ba, jim, dal. So what are you going to do and how you will answer these questions? You will just have to, there will be a space provided there at the end of the question paper in which there will be table there for the questions for you to put the answers. For example, there will be table if there are four MCQ questions. At the end of the MCQ questions, there will be a table for question number 1, 2, 3, 4. So you just have to write down your answers there. 1, 2, 3, 4. For example, one is alif and two is jim. For example, you just have to put the letter there. One alif, but two is jim, and until the end of the MCQ question. For LTI, for MCQ, is it correct question or about less? Basically, we are all the questions are based on your textbook, so it will be testing you everything. So basically, the question is 100% from the textbooks. The topic will be based on the textbooks, but the question is not from textbooks. Is Paris compulsory? Uh, for LQM 0813 and LQM 0823, I don't think that there are questions that require you to put the Paris. But if you have, uh, but for LQM 0824, I'm not really sure about that thing. Are we allowed to use an online keyboard? Using an online keyboard, actually, I'm not advising you to use online keyboard. Why? Because once you have submitted your answers, there will be something different appeared to us if you use online keyboard or you directly type the answer on the Google Docs. Can I write the answer using digital pen? If you have digital pen and you can you can answer directly on Google Docs by using digital pen, then it's okay. Baris wajib. Can we use Google Translate? If you don't understand the meaning, this is examinations, brother. So you can't use any help or any webs. You can't get any help. You can't seek for any help. You can't use any websites to search for the answers. Just imagine that you are here physically, so you are taking the midterm examination here physically. Can you use your phones to answer to look for something that you don't understand, or can you use your dictionary to look for the word that you don't understand? I'm pretty sure that you can't do that. So it goes the same with this examination. Yes, you are there in your home, at your house, and we are not there to invigilate you. But then once again, I have to mention that we put all our trust on you to answer the questions, to not cheat during the examination. Kalau exam nanti setiap soalan dia ada bagi al-maqal tu, al-mithal tu ke? Dekat soalan exam boleh jadi ada, boleh jadi tak ada. Meaning that honor pledge ada kat dalam paper soalan ke akan diedarkan awal. Oh, the honor pledge will be together in the question paper, in which the honor pledge will be the first page or the second page, where the first page will be your personal information punya spaces, and then the second page will be the honor pledge, and then it will start with the question paper. Is it compulsory to put baris? Saya rasa, semua soalan sama ni. Is baris wajib, Ustaz? Writing font? Uh, I will just guna the default font yang ada dekat dalam Google Docs tu je. We no need to write the essay, right? Only sentence. Nabil, you are from which level? LQM 0813, 0823 or 0824? So, saya tak tahu nak jawab tu sebab saya tak tahu awak dari mana. Ada objektif kah? Adalah, 2-3. Boleh ulang tak pasal keyboard Arab dalam laptop? Okay, untuk keyboard Arab dalam laptop, you can just simply type dekat search or type here to search dekat your taskbar tu, language and keyboard. So you can click on language and keyboard, and later you can add the language there, which you have to add Arabic language, Saudi Arabia, Arabic keyboard 101, and you just have to follow the step, and then it will be installed on your laptop. My lecture said our exam will be conducted on yeah, okay. There are few sections whom their lecturers are using Microsoft Teams for this semester. So those who are using Microsoft Teams for this semester will be using Microsoft Teams for the midterm examination. But most of the lecturers are using Google Classroom. So that's why today's briefing is more about Google Classroom. So I think you have done quite a few exercises by using Microsoft Teams. So I'll just briefly explain about how to answer the questions on Microsoft Teams. There will be assignment there in which the assignment will have the attached Microsoft Word, online Microsoft Word, which you will just click that thing and you just answer the questions. The interface is literally just the same as Microsoft Word that you have on your laptop. And then once you have finished everything, you just have to click on the turn in button, the top right side of your laptop or your screen. What else do we have? Boleh guna phone. Yes, you may use the phone, but you have to bear in mind that you have to download the Google Docs application first, or so that you won't face any problem later. For level 1, are the examples available for every question? The examples available for every question, just like in the previous questions? What do you mean by that, Shima? Do we have any Google Meet during the examination to observe us answering the questions? Can we use Google Translate? Macam mana kali je baca soalan tu? LKM 0824 yang writing tu dia tak sediakan Google Docs ke? Okay, Lutfi, for LKM 0824 for writing part, the questions and the answer space is there in Google Docs. But if you wish to write by your the answer by your hand, that is where you have to write the answers on a foolscap paper. Later, you have to snap the foolscap paper by using cam scanner, in which you have to convert the photos later into PDF files, where you have to upload the PDF files before you submit or before you turn in the Google Docs in Google Classroom. How to change Arabic keyboard? Dah cakap tadi. Dah. How to change Arabic keyboard? How many words must we write? How many words must you write? There will be there in the questions, the instructions of the questions. So you have to read the instructions later. Kena download bahasa Arab dalam laptop. Okay. Do you have Google Meet during the exam? How to change keyboard? Dah download tapi tak reti. Dah download tapi tak reti tukar. Okay. If you are using Microsoft Teams, so the question will be in the Microsoft Teams. Soalan yang sesuaikan macam mana nak sesuai dalam Google Docs. For LKM 0813, there will be no sesuaikan punya soalan tu. So tak payah tak payah risau macam mana nak sesuaikan. Will there be an example for each question given, like what Ustaz just presented? It is an example for each question. Oh, normally we have example for each questions, but then they might be there. The example may be there and it might not be there. No, Microsoft Teams is not meeting apps like Google Meet. Microsoft Teams is actually a combination of Microsoft Google Meet punya benda, and it actually works as Google Classroom punya Google Classroom juga. So that is why those who are using Microsoft Teams for this semester will be posting the question paper on Microsoft Teams. This is an explanation. You cannot use any help for someone. Google Translate. Okay. Thanks for the person who answered the question for me. How many topics would be tested from topic 1? Oh, for this midterm examination, the topic will be tested is from topic 1 until topic 7, which the topics that you have learned or you have covered from week 1 until week 7. Okay. Lewat turn in jawapan tak diterima ke? Kenapa lewat turn in tu? So should you have any questions, I mean like should you have faced any problems with regards to your internet connection, for example, when you are answering the questions during the midterm examination, and then suddenly the internet or your data just run out and you have only basic data and you don't have any Wi-Fi there, so you have problems in submitting the question the answers, and which might result in late submission. So what you have to do is that if you have faced and if you face any problems during the examination, the first thing you have to do is that to inform your lecturers, so that your lecturers are aware about your situations, so that they know that why this student or that particular student submit late, or some because of there are problems happen there. So once you face any problems during the examination or during this midterm examination or maybe the final examination, the most important things is that you have to inform your lecturers that you are facing the problem. You are facing problems with your internet connection or something like anything. You just have to inform your lecturers. Do we need to write numbers in Arabic? No. For MacBook boleh check dekat sistem. Limit perkataan untuk essay, you have to read the instruction given on the question paper so that you can know how many words that you have to write. Very baca dalam komen tapi ada yang cakap tak compulsory tak boleh. What if we have class? I think I have answered the questions. Oh, what if we have class using Microsoft Teams and Google Classroom? Which one should we use? We have two different class for these subjects. Oh, I mean like there are few sections that have two lecturers. which might be one of them will use Google Classroom and one of them is using Google Microsoft Teams. So I can't really I'm not really sure about that thing. But the most important thing that is that you have to ask your lecturer either the question will be posted on Google Classroom or will be posted on Microsoft Teams. So you have to reconfirm with your lecturers. Soalan suaikan dah tak ada tadi. Soalan suaikan dah tak ada. Does the letter should be inserted in our answer? Does the letter should be inserted in our answers? What do you mean by that questions? I can't really understand your questions. Boleh je kan guna apps lain selain cam scanner? It is advisable to use cam scanner lah. Sebab cam scanner dia punya, because why when you are using cam scanner, the quality of the photo is better compared to any other applications. Why? Because your lecturers are going to are going to read your answers by using the photos you have snapped or you have taken. So if the quality is not that good, so it might be difficult for your lecturers to read the answer. Nak tanya kalau soalan tu jawapan dah tersedia dalam petak, tinggal nak pilih je. Boleh tak kalau kita copy and paste je, and kalau tak ada pilihan jawapan baru kita type? Boleh tak? Kalau yang susah buat keyboard Arab. Boleh je Haris. You can, for example, for reading comprehension questions, the answer is there in the passage. The answer is there in the conversation. So what you have to do if you are not really good in typing Arabic, you can just go to the what we call that. You can just go to the passage there, or you can just go to the conversation there, and then you can just copy and paste the answers in the space provided below. Nombor boleh je dalam nombor apa-apa pun, Sofia. Is there any other questions? I think I have answered all the questions here in the chat box. So if you have any other questions, I think you may refer to your respective lecturers or your own lectures for your own sections. These briefing videos will be here in YouTube, so you may refer it later on. You may refer it anytime later. The link is just the same as the link shared to you. So I think these are all the things that the most important parts of the midterm examination. And I will just have, I would love to remind you again, once you have completed answering the questions, the most important things that you have to do is to click on the turn in button here. So where is the turn in button? The turn in button here, so that you officially submitted the question, the answers. So, and next one, if you wish to answer the questions by using your phone, please bear in mind that you have to install Google Docs application to avoid your answers from disappearing at the end of the sessions, or at the end of the midterm examination. So I think that's all from me for tonight. And the video will be here, will be saved here in YouTube. So you may refer or you may watch this session repeatedly actually. So I think that's all from me. And I wish you all of you the best for this coming midterm examination. And if you have anything to ask, you may ask your lecturers or you may refer to your prospective lecturers. And with that, I will end this briefing with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.